Worksheet D38, under business finance and still in depreciation, it says an asset has an estimated useful life of 4 years. Using the sum of the years digit method of depreciation, calculate the depreciation fraction for year 2. So when they say sum of the years digit, what they're doing is if it has 4 years of useful life, they're doing 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 to get the sum of the years. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10. So then for my fractions for my year, I'm going to put the years that we have over the denominator. So for the first year, year 1, we would have the fraction 4/10. For the second year, year 2, we would have 3/10. For the third year, year 3, we would have 2/10. And for the fourth year, we would have 1/10. So when they say calculate the depreciation fraction for year 2, the depreciation fraction is going to be 3/10 of my depreciation. Because if I was doing a whole lot of years, if it was say 50 years, I wouldn't want to have to do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 all the way up to 50. There's a formula you can use instead of just adding them up. The formula looks like this: n times n plus 1 divided by 2. N is the number of years. So I would do 4 times 4 plus 1, which is 5. 4 times the next number bigger, 4 times 5 over 2. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 divided by 2 still is the same 10 we got when we added. So you can just add up the numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus whatever until you get to it, or you can use the formula, and that's going to give you the denominator of your fraction. And then you're going to start with the total number of years. Year 1 would be the 4, because I have 4 years of useful life, so 4/10, 3/10, 2/10, and then 1/10. And work my fractions down like that. Now we do that so that we can then figure out depreciation using that method. So the first problem just wanted you to figure out how to figure those fractions. Number 2, Jaeger Production Incorporated produced a new delivery van that's cost $23,500. The equipment has residual value of $1,200 and an estimated useful life of 7 years. So if I'm using the sum of the digits, I could do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, but that would be a whole lot of work. So I'm going to use the formula. 7 years. I do 7 times 1 more than 7, 8, and I divide that by 2. 7 times 8 is 56, so I'm going to take 56 and divide it by 2. 56 divided by 2 gives me 28. So 28 should be the sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. Should add up to 28. So when I do my fraction for year 1, I'm going to use 7 28ths because I started with 7 years. When I do my depreciation for year 2, I'm going to do 6 28ths. Year 3 would be 5, year 4 would be 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the rest of the years down to 7 years. So, if I want to calculate the annual depreciation for year 1, first of all, again, I have to find out what my total depreciation is. It was $23,500, but it has a residual value of $1,200, and so my depreciation there would be, just subtract my calculator so I don't mess up, 23,500 minus 1,200, $22,300. I'm going to take the total depreciation times this fraction. So times the 22,300. So times the 7 divided by the 28 to do the 7 28ths instead of using the fraction. So 22,300 times 7 divided by 28 means I'm going to get 5,575, round to the nearest cent, dollars for my depreciation for year 1. It wants to know the book value for year one. So the book value for year one, I don't have a lot of writing room, but my book value, I'm going to go over here. Original value was $23,500. I'm going to subtract off the $5,575, which was my depreciation for the first year. So subtract that. Means I'm going to have a book value of $17,900. Can't write commas and decimal points today, evidently. $17,925. That's going to be my book value for year one. This was my depreciation for year one. So year one depreciation, $5,575. Book value after year one, $17,925. Year two, my fraction for year two is 6/28. Year one, we use 7/28. Year two, we drop off a year and use 6/28. It still times that total depreciation. So I'm going to take the 22,300 times 6 divided by 28. And so for year two, my depreciation is going to be $4,778.57. I rounded that off. The 7 was followed by a 1, so I didn't have to do anything. So $4,778.57. The book value at the end of year two, then, I'm going to take the value at the end of year one, $17,925, and subtract off my depreciation, $4,778.57. So if I subtract those, 8.57, I get at year two $13,146.43. So I find the denominator of my fraction. For year one, I'll have whatever the useful life was over that number. Year two, I take 1 year off of that. I found my total depreciation. I'm going to multiply that fraction times the depreciation to find the depreciation for that year. And then, of course, I'm going to subtract to find my book value. So we'll look at number 3. Number 3 should look pretty close to what number 2 looked like. Number 3, then. Gentry and Hawkins Metalworks purchased new testing equipment that cost $23,000. The equipment has a residual value of $1,600 and an estimated useful life of 5 years. The company used the sum of the years digit method. So I could do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, or I could use the formula. 5 times 1 more, which would be 6, divided by 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So if you added 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, you would get 15. So for the depreciation fraction for year 1, I'm going to use 5/15. For year 2, I'm going to use 4/15. I'm going to multiply those fractions times the total amount of depreciation. So $23,000 was my original cost. The depreciation was the residual value was $1,600. So $23,000 minus $1,600 means the total depreciation was $21,400. So I'm going to multiply by $21,400. So $21,400 times 5 divided by 15. $7,133, and rounding to the nearest cent, 33 cents. That's going to be my depreciation for year 1. I also need to find my book value after year 1 then. So for year 1, its original value was $23,000. I have to subtract off my $7,133.33. And so after year one, it is worth $15,866.67. Now for year two, we're going to use the fraction 4/15 times the total amount of depreciation. So I'm going to take my 21,400 times 4 divided by 15, which means my year two depreciation is $5,706 and rounding to the nearest cent, 67 cents. $5,706.67. And so the book value at the end of year two, I have to take the book value from year one, $15,866.67, subtract off my depreciation, $5,706.67, gives me $10,160 even. And so my book value after 2 years, $10,160. So that's the sum of the years digit method. And again, if you need to, pause the video. Otherwise, we'll go on here to number 4. It says an asset costs $14,000 and has an estimated useful life of 4 years. Use the declining balance method of depreciation with twice the straight line depreciation rate. So, what I'm going to do first of all is figure out what the straight line depreciation rate is, and then I'm going to multiply it times 2. So, if I had 100% and I divide it by 4, it's depreciating by 25% every year, right? 100% is full value, useful life 4 years, so 100 divided by 4 is 25%. I'm going to use twice that depreciation, so I'm going to multiply that times 2 and use 50% for my depreciation. So the declining balance depreciation rate, the other book called it double declining, so I want to call it that, is 50%. And so that's what they want for the first part of it, is just the rate, 50%. Then I'm going to find the annual depreciation expense for year 1. So I'm just going to take the cost of $14,000, I'm going to multiply it by 50%, which gives me $7,000 for the depreciation of year 1. And if I were to do year 2, I would take 50% of that. Year 3, I'd do 50% of that, and so forth. So number 5 says an asset costs $11,500 and has an estimated useful life of 10 years. Use the declining balance method of depreciation with twice the straight line depreciation rate. So I'm going to say 100% divided by a useful life of 10 years would be 10% per year. I'm going to do twice that, so 20%. So 20% is my rate that I'm going to use in my declining balance depreciation rate. I then want to find the depreciation for the first year. My value was $11,500. I'm going to do 20% of that. And so for the first year, $2,300 is going to be what the depreciation is. If I wanted to find the book value, I would have to take the value and subtract that, and so forth. And these ones all kind of look the same, but I have a feeling when you get to your pie chart, they'll continue it on a little farther than these ones are. Number 6, an asset costs $15,500, has an estimated useful life of 8 years. Use the declining balance method of depreciation with twice the straight line depreciation rate. So 100% divided by straight line would be 8 years. So 100 divided by 8 is 12.5%. But I want to do twice that, so I'm going to multiply by 2. So times that by 2 gives me 25% for my depreciation each year. I want to again just find what the depreciation for year 1 is. So it had a value of $15,500. It depreciates by 25% each year. So 15,500 times 0.25 means the depreciation amount for year 1, $3,875. And I'm going to pause the video for a minute because for the next one we have to have a table that I got to bring up here. Alright, for number 7 it says an asset costs $24,000. Its asset class in the modified accelerated cost recovery system is 10 years. Using the modified accelerated cost recovery system annual recovery table, calculate the following. And sometimes they're going to have 2 tables because it's going to tell you what kind of asset it is and you have to look it up. Sometimes you're just going to have the 1 table. So you can see them both. I have them both up here. So sometimes, whoops, I got to get rid of all my writing. Sometimes it will tell you what the item is. It's a racehorse. It's going to be under the class 3. It's municipal sewers. It's going to be under 20 year, whatever it is. This question just said it's going to be in the 10 years. New law doesn't add any specific property under this class, but it just told you it was under the 10 years. So I'm going to go under the 10 years. Year 1, it's going to be 10% depreciation. Year 2, 18%. Year 3, 14.4%, and so forth. So on this question, it wants to know the depreciation rate for year 1. 10 years for year 1 is just 10%. So the annual recovery depreciation rate for year 1, just 10% from looking at the table. What is the depreciation for year 1 then? Well, I'm going to take my $24,000 times 10%, which is going to be $2,400 then. Round your answer to the nearest cent. They might make you do the 0.00. I'm going to guess that maybe they don't, but who knows? Then I'm going to find the book value. So to find the book value, I'm going to take my $24,000, subtract off my $2,400. And so if I do that, $24,000 minus $2,400, the book value after year 1, $21,600. So a matter of looking up in the table what percent you are based on the rate that you're at. And again, on these papers it's going to tell you what the useful life is, but on some of them on Alex it's going to make you look at the table to figure out which is the useful life, and so I brought them both up. So if we go on here and go ahead and jump to number 8, an asset cost me $21,000. Its asset class in the modified accelerated cost recovery system is 7 years. Use the table to calculate the following. And again, we're just going to do the rate for year 1. So this one, whoops, got to use the mouse or it wants to bounce around on me. This one has a useful life of 7 years. If I look at the table here, 7 years, railroad tracks, agricultural things like pig pens, horticultural structures, fixtures, equipment, and furniture. So we're under the 7-year category. For year 1, 14.28%. And so the answer to that first question is just the 14.28%. They're checking to see if you're finding the right number in the table. So then I'm going to calculate the annual depreciation for year 1. It was worth $21,000. We're going to multiply it by 0.1428, 14.28%. And so my depreciation for year 1, $2,998.80. And so the book value after year 1, we're going to take the $2,100. We're going to subtract off the $2,998.80. And so now my book value after the first year, $18,001.20. Now I'm going to erase this so the writing doesn't show up on the tables. So number 9, now we have an example of something that has both tables that we might have to look at. Northwestern Electronics Company purchased equipment that cost $21,000 using the modified accelerated cost recovery system. Determine the asset class, consult the asset class table. So they just purchased equipment. So when I go and look at that table, you have different ones that say specifically technological equipment, but here's a comparable equipment for telephone distribution. This doesn't really say what kind of equipment, so we just have to assume it's the regular equipment. So fixtures, equipment, and furniture are under the 7-year category. So we're going to say that one's 7 years. And then here it said the annual depreciation rate for year 2 is what it said there. You can go back and look at your paper. But since I have my tables up, for year 2 under the 7-year class, it's going to be 24.49% for what my depreciation is. So I'm going to go ahead and close those tables and see if it erased. Nope, it's going to erase my board. 7 years and 24.49. See if I go over here. So 7 years, 24.49. I got lucky, it stayed there. Then I'm going to find my annual depreciation expense for year 2. So $21,000 times 0.2449. I set my calculator down when I was bringing up those tables. 21,000 times 0.2449 gives me $5,142.90 for my depreciation for year 2. So sometimes it's a little hard to figure out what class it is, but for those things that say equipment, furniture, and doesn't specify what kind of equipment or furniture, it's going to be in that 7-year class. Other problems will just tell you what years to use so you can look at the table. And that should be the end. The next 3 kind of problems here of homework day 38. So again, under business finance and depreciation, the next 3 kind of problems, go ahead and look on your pie chart.